Hello everybody, welcome back to Brailsford Woodworks Refinished. Sometimes I find a piece of wood that otherwise would be thrown away that for whatever reason, kind of sticks to me, and I feel like I got to do something with it. In this particular case, this was a cutoff from a buttress root on a Bradford pear tree when I had taken it down, and I'd kept it because I'm like, I want to do something with this, and I decided that I was going to make a vase out of it. It's Bradford pear again, one of my favorite woods to turn, and I get to put a little bit of epoxy in it. So I'm starting by getting the piece round and just getting it into the general shape, and now I'm starting to get those first shapes towards it being a vase. I'm working on the top of the vase right now, turning it in towards the chuck, and I will leave up a little lip on the top. As you can see, the vase is starting to take shape, and I'm working up towards that rim up there, and as you can see, it's got some cracks. It's also got a void, and here I'm using my Dremel to open that crack up, and I will fill it with CA glue. I'm using some medium CA glue so it adds some void filling capacity to it. So I didn't show it, but I did fill that void with some epoxy, and here I am doing the final shaping, and I used some red dye in that epoxy, and I really think it adds a nice detail to the vase. So the vase is really taking that shape that I really like. That's a classical vase shape, and I'm getting it through, taking that nice sweeping cut and trying to keep the ridges to a minimum, keep that sanding down as little as possible. I filled in some last minute cracks, and now I'm using my Easy Wood Tools Easy Finisher and doing a kind of a finish scraping cut on the vase. From here I'll move on to using my negative rake scraper for yet another cut, and then I will take out my skew and add the dovetail on the tenon so that it will be able to be held in my chuck. Just going to show you a tiny bit of sanding, and I sanded up to 400 grit. I'm adding a wax finish to the outside using my Minwax finishing wax. I'll turn the speed up and give it a real good buffing, and that Bradford pear takes on a beautiful shine. I'm now parting off that bottom nub so it'll fit in my chuck. I'm now using my Easy Wood Tools gooseneck hollower, and I'm getting in there and getting this thing hollow. So I know some people really hate using carbide tools. They think you're somehow cheating by not learning how to use classical tools. But I would counter with them that, first off, when it comes to hollowing, carbide really is the only choice. And why do you have a problem with scrapers? I mean, it's just another arrow in your quiver. When that carbide is sharp too, boy, there really is nothing like it when you get down inside one of these hollow forms. So I'm working at getting my wall down to about a 3/8 to 1/2 inch wall thickness. So I'm sanding the rim and the neck of the vase, and I honestly don't get down and sand really down deep into a vase because I honestly don't see the point. So I'm adding my wax to the neck and the rim of the vase and getting it all buffed up. So I'm turning it around in my chuck. I put some protection on the rim so it doesn't get damaged by the chuck, and I'm going to take the tenon off. I start with a shearing cut to get it flat, and then I make very light cuts and just take as much time as I need to get through it without taking a deep cut and ripping it off the chuck. I decided to put my tailstock up there so I don't do something stupid. So now I'm making my final cuts with the tailstock, and I will take the nub off in the end. So I'm using my thin parting tool to get down almost all the way through the nub. So the nub is off. The last thing to do is sand it and put my brand on there. One last coat of wax and this piece is done. Okay, here's the finished product. Boy, that Bradford Pear really does take on a shine, and I like that little piece of red epoxy in there. I think it gives it kind of a neat detail. Thank you for joining me once again on Brailsford Woodworks Refinished. I hope you enjoyed it.